Hello everyone, and welcome to the magnificent analysis for the episode before the very end, aka Pizza Party in the Tavern at the End of the Multiverse. And don't think that I haven't seen the trailer for the finale, because there will be an analysis for it coming soon. But before we begin, let me introduce you all to another game in the App Store coming soon to both Android and Apple devices. The name of that game is going to be titled Ben 10 Heroes, and though some people may or may not be a fan of the newly animated series, the game is very much in great shape. But I guess I should have known, since it was made by Epic Story Interactive, the same company responsible for creating Beyblade Burst Rivals. I'm proud to be one of their chosen test players, and I can say that Ben 10 Heroes is pretty unique. Ben battles one of his mightiest foes in the beginning, only to have his memory and the data from his Omnitrix wiped away. So the next step is to battle all other aliens as you slowly regain all of that back. The gameplay consisted of Candy Crush in a way, but even better since you can actually swipe items into the exact area you want them to be instead of only being limited to swiping horizontally or vertically. And after being able to clear a certain amount of items, you gradually earned enough level up points for combat and self-defense. Once the battle has been done, expect to earn even more tokens for unlocking other aliens for you to use for your next villains. Once again, this is gameplay brought to you by Epic Story Interactive, and expect Ben 10 Heroes in the App Store coming soon. This has been The Next Big Thing, and I approve this message. From the beginning, we are shown a flashback between Mina Loveberry and Celeria, back when Mina was a rag seller. So in other words, she was just as poor of a person as you would expect, and Celeria referring her as nothing more than a peasant was rude, but admittedly kinda accurate. I mean, these royal Mewmins steal land from the monsters and don't even think to give proper jobs to everyone. Anyway, Celeria is there to supposedly save the day, when in reality she's driving monsters away from their very own land. The primary example in this situation was when the monster spider is attacked by Celeria for attempting to defend its nest. A small detail that was shown throughout the flashback was Celeria wearing a baby strap for baby Eclipsa, much like how Eclipsa straps her child. There's even a moment after Celeria asks for volunteers for her Solarian Warrior project if Eclipsa was up for some snookers. And another small detail within the flashback was how Mina and Celeria's fighting styles are quite similar.
Vile monster, prepare for justice!
This is justice!
Since no other Mewmins were willing to sacrifice themselves for fighting off monsters, Mina expresses her interest once asked to do so, though she doesn't have a fighting background. However, the only requirement for Mina is to accept her job into becoming one of Celeria's warriors and to believe in her, solemnly swearing to forever serve Celeria. Soon afterwards, the flashback ends, and so it continues with the cockerel crowing and Mina about to confront Moon and the rest. Apparently, Moon's reasoning for getting Mina to work for her was in order to make a deal with Eclipsa and to make her the royal queen once more, and so that perhaps that will prevent Mina from wanting to do any harm to Eclipsa and her family in the long run, since Mina was already planning to overthrow her eventually. I somewhat understood why Moon did what she did, but she lost my sympathy for her once she blamed Eclipsa for being separated from her family in the realm of magic that time. Certainly she had to have understood that if she would have kept blasting at Meteora, Meteora probably would have been dead, and this is Eclipsa's daughter. Eclipsa hadn't seen her for over 300 years alongside with her husband, and if even having a small chance of being able to raise Meteora properly was an option for her, I understood why she took it. Moon should have been the main one to understand that feeling. She literally could have lost Star in the beginning of season 3 against Toffee. Now, I'm only guessing that Moon forgot about the fact that she was the one who decided to open the portal to the realm and healed herself, because there's no way in the world Eclipsa decided to plan that entire thing out. Come on. This of course absolutely upset Star for her son's betrayal, but it is a complete celebration for the MHC having a pizza party. Get it? Because that's the title of the episode. The only person, however, seemingly disappointed with the situation is Hekapu, who thankfully isn't as bad as a person as I feared. She creates a duplicate of herself in order for Omnitraxis and Romulus not to suspect her leaving. So while her duplicate is distracting Romulus and Omnitraxis, her original form is going to help Moon and the rest of them, but that's for a future part of this analysis. So with all that going on, Moon raises the gate in order to reveal to Mina that Eclipsa surrenders and so she can call off her soldiers. But of course, Nah. Mina instead persists on using the Solarian sword for Eclipsa in order for her to suffer the same fate as her husband. Mina later on decides to betray Moon and pursue on finding Globgor, cause pushing off innocent monsters from a hill without him didn't feel as satisfying. There was also a reveal that the new Solarian warriors do consist of the Mewmans who volunteered to dethrone Eclipsa, and Maud from down by the river was shown as one of them. And since Moon attempts to take away their powers only to find out that they swore to Solaria when receiving their abilities and not to Moon herself, they have no other choice but to flee. And the same can be said for Globgor, who is hidden from everyone else with the help of River and his bog beast buddy Eddie. Plus, I wonder what'll happen when River feeds Globgor chicken. Maybe that'll actually help Globgor's drive to want to consume humans. But back to the matter at hand. Seriously, Moon, you worked with Mina. Are you an idiot? So Mina surrounds Moon and the gang in order to attack them, only for them to thankfully be rescued by none other than Hekapu herself so that she can take them to the tavern at the end of the multiverse. Much like how Hekapu justified sneaking away while Mewni gets obliterated by Meteora towards the end of season 3, she does the same thing when Mina and her army takes over. So with no other choices, they enter the secret passageway leading to the tavern, which was a bar similar to where Talon and the rest would hang out at, but this time with a black void that leads to non-existence. Most of the people within the tavern are mainly people who wanted to get away from magic and control of queens. Eclipsa asks for Hekapu's scissors in order to somehow save her husband, but is stopped by Moon, who tells her that it's too dangerous, with Star responding to that saying that it's too dangerous because of her, and that she can stay away from her by maybe even going over by the part where she doesn't exist. Once again, like what I had mentioned in my previous analysis, this was aired on Mother's Day, ironically. I don't know if that was intentional.
Is that your daughter? Talking to you like that?
It's soon revealed after Eclipsa begins a game of pool that Eclipsa was well aware of Moon being the reason for Globgor's freedom, even though she did so in order to help Romulus and the rest of the MHC fulfill their wish in overthrowing Eclipsa during her coronation day. And just by looking back at that episode a second time, it makes you look at Moon from a different perspective. While Mina, on the other hand, is still on the search for Globgor, River continues his way to the sanctuary in order to heal Globgor's wounds, and she mentions how this can potentially heal the many monsters and Mewmans affected by Solaria's sword. Now, I wish they would have been able to first somehow transport some magic to the victims before leaving them on Mewni, but only time will tell. And speaking of that, we are shown with Janna comforting the quirky monster who took the sword to the stomach. He asks if his devil mark is still there and also admits to wanting to be cool all the time, but only getting as far as being quirky. Janna says that being quirky can be cool as well, and says that she can relate to that in a way too, since this could be a reference to how she was in season 2's episode Sleepover. The box of truth gets her to admit to liking the color pink more so than black, so that way she wouldn't contribute to gender stereotypes. It was hilarious and all, but that one detail says a lot about her character as a whole. Now, I personally don't believe that she's completely faking her ultra cool attitude, but however, she does hide certain emotions every now and then. Unfortunately, the quirky guy explodes due to Solarian magic finally overtaking his body, with Janna in the end absolutely freaking the freak out. Oh my gosh. Now, as for Globgor, he most likely has survived this long due to him being striked onto a less vital part of his body, his right arm. When as for the quirky dude, unfortunately, he was tacked right in the center close to his heart. Moving right along, Marco attempts to cheer up Star with a drink, only with Star outbursting her distaste for magic. Much like how Marco was in the photo booth whenever the photo booth mechanic lied about it being magic. And quite honestly, Star brings up a serious point. Without magic, there would be no butterflies. With no butterflies, there would be no more destruction of monsters' lands. And since Moon stupidly created the new Solarian warriors to be practically indestructible, magic going away would be one of the only ways to defeat them. I mean, Moon, did you even read the Solarian potion disclaimers? I mean, I am just so disappointed in you. However, Marco also mentions that because of magic, that's how the both of them met. It doesn't exactly change her mind, but then Glossaryck arrives and decides to buy Star a drink in order to grab her attention. And so she enters his eyeball like how she did in Into the Wand. She discusses with Glossaryck over the possibility of ending the magic by saying the whispering spell within the realm of magic. To which Glossaryck responds by showing Star inside of the grandma room, or well, more specifically, the tapestry room. Only this time, the deceased butterflies are out of their proper placement inside of their own tapestries. And one thing that bothered me was that right beside Selena's tapestry, a different one seems to be shown. I even decided to check the Mastering Every Dimension book to be sure, but it seems to be a combination of Moon being taken out of a tapestry we probably haven't even heard of yet or never will. Unless this is a slight hint letting us know of Moon's possible death. Her diamond symbol was shown to be shattered in a season 3 teaser promo, but I doubt it. And within that same placement is supposed to be Festivia's portrait, or at least in the episode Into the Wand it was. She is shown inside of Star's tapestry, however perhaps they managed to do the unexpected. And like Marco was expressing in the episode Beach Day, because the future technically is already determined, do they have free will? They are then shown all surrounding Star's tapestry, seemingly expressing an emotion of worry and for some, anger. And this is a result of Star's tapestry consisting of her accomplishing what she mentioned in her rant, destroying the magic. It's believable, however, that Celeria is to be one of the most furious since she probably knows of Star and her story of eventually befriending monsters rather than fighting them. And the tapestry says it all. And I guess we'll never know what's behind Selena's fan because I couldn't find a single frame where behind the fan was visible. Now the consequences for doing this, however, is the possibility of Marco not being a part of the equation. But honestly, Star is really assuming quite a bit, and Glossric didn't necessarily give a yes or no answer. And think about it, neither is Ponyhead, Tom, Talon, Jorby, or Kelly are inside of the tapestry either. She was so fessed up about Marco that she never even thought about the rest of her friends. Glossric did mention, however, that without magic itself, he would no longer exist, which probably explains as to why Star's tapestry was the only one to have Glossoric's image removed from her tapestry. It's either that or that was their way of saying that Glossric or magic itself didn't belong. Now before I end this and express a pretty awesome theory in my next video, there is one last part of the episode that I need to talk about. Star mentions how it didn't make much sense how Star was transported in a shed next to Doop Doop, her mom on Pie Island, and Marco in the Mewni castle inside of the Link Catcher. To which Glossric responds with, I'm sure it had a really good reason to do that. Since Star and Moon's legacy aren't necessarily royalty, that's probably why they were sent elsewhere. However, once again, I still believe that Marco will be the one who ends up being connected to Eclipse's side of the family in some way. And whether or not some moons on a certain person have something to do with it or not, I guess only time will tell. Welp, that's the end for my analysis, but I really can't wait until my breakdown of the trailer for the finale. This has been the next big thing once again, and I'll catch ya all in the next one. Peace!